Today my guest is Russ Fustino. Russ, how you doing?
Hey, good, and you?
I'm doing great. I'll hurt your hand there.
I heard this making a pot of spaghetti sauce. I stirred it and it boiled up.
That sounds extremely painful.
It was good sauce, though.
That sounds extremely yummy.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I work for Grape City. That's where I got the purple hat on.
Okay.
I head up there developer evangelism. We are actually sitting in the Grape City booth right now at the Dev Connections, yes. And actually on the set for Carl Franklin and Richard Campbell. They've been doing their .NET Rocks broadcast here.
Those guys are awesome. They've been on my show a couple times.
Yeah, certainly are.
And you do a lot of Windows Phone development, don't you?
I do. I have about 75 apps
75
up on
apps?
Marketplace.
Wow.
Yep.
Are you making money?
Yeah, enough to pay a few bills here and there. Not getting rich, but the numbers are going in the right direction. Which is the main thing.
Let's talk about that. A lot of people they're throwing apps up on the App Store, and they're not making money. They're 99 cents a pop, and it costs $25 a year or something like that.
99 a year.
99 a year just to get it on there. So just to break even, you've got to sell 100 copies of an app.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people aren't even getting there.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's a lot of incentives. A lot of times you can get that $99 back with different contests that they're running. So that's one thing to look for when you're first starting out. But it depends on the type of app you have as well. I know some guys over in NeuralNet over in Florida. They've got about almost 30 apps out there. They don't sell any of them, and they actually make all their money through advertising, which is, of course, is another way you can make some money with your app. Now, those only work primarily if you have somebody that's in your app using it for a while. Like games are really a good category for that type of revenue. They have, I think, an app called Love Text. So people are, spending time finding the right poem for their girlfriend or whatever in the app. So anything that's time-consuming, revenue stream is a good option through advertising.
How does advertising work? Is that just pop up an ad at the beginning and some periodically throughout the?
Yeah, there's the advertising center through Microsoft has easy hooks into it, so that you can easily show a banner ad on top of your page when you are running your application. Now there's also Codeplex has an ad rotator control that you can download, and then you can go between like Google ads and Microsoft ads and wherever you want, because sometimes ad services are not available in various countries through Microsoft, and then you can go ahead and switch to another ad vendor that does support those, so you're making more money worldwide. And making more money is a good topic I'm very familiar with. I've done a lot of seminars on it.
Let's keep talking about that. I've got an app. It's an awesome app, and I want to make money off of it. What's next?
Well, the first thing is when you go to create your application, you want to try to do the basics in terms of marketing. You want to do a little research on if there's any other competitors out there, and then what you want to do is go ahead and see what kind of languages they're globalized, because if there is an app that's similar to yours but it's only done in English, there's still an opportunity if you do that in Spanish, French, German, and Italian. So that's something a lot of folks overlook. And then of course you look at the feature set and you try to differentiate your product with your competitor. Now the other thing is once you do publish it, you're not done. There's other things you can do to make a lot more money. First of all, what you should be doing, I highly recommend, is instrumenting your code. And by instrumenting your code, I mean putting hooks in it so you're getting data back about how people are using your application.
Wow.
And things like, are they hitting menu choices? Are they hitting buttons? Are they looking at videos? Or whatever piece to your application is, you're gaining knowledge in how your app is used. So what do you do with that knowledge? Well, then you can determine what kind of trial strategies you want to have. Right? So you always should have a trial strategy. People are 10 times more likely, I think is the stat I read, or 100 or more times more likely to download your app if there's a free trial version of it. So that's a little bit of the tips and tricks there. The other thing is the trial strategy can vary, right? You can have a trial strategy that's limited feature functionality. And again, you can kind of get those statistics through the instrumentation and figure out which one's the best ones to kind of block out that are maybe most useful or most needed, right, in your application. And then globalization as well. You want to be able to, my recommendation is the first time you publish an app, have it ready to go for globalization. Add your resource files in, have your, don't have any like .text equals in your code.
Okay, so
you always want to set it to the resource.
Internationalize it yet, at least establish a framework which makes it easier.
That's exactly right. So that you're ready to go, you can use, there's a resource I use called Free translation, freetranslation.com. It's not really free, but I think they charge between 10 and 20 cents a word. And they also have a proofreader that proofreads it. So what you want to do...
A human being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that takes care of contextual type things. And they've actually emailed me back saying, what does this mean? What are you getting at in this particular sense?
Okay. For the instrumentation, are there any tools to help with that?
Yeah, the ones I use are through Preemptive Solutions Obfuscator. They have a special Phone 7 version, and it comes with a free runtime portal.
Okay.
So basically, it's a web service that you're calling from your application, and you go to their portal, and you can see exactly whatever you want to in your code. A number of times it's launched, a number of times if you got errors, you can capture error information up there, which could be useful. And I use it for usage as well as keeping track of how many units I've sold, how many units I've sold as trial, then converted to paid, and how many trials I got out there. I have my own counters in there.
Yeah.
And Marketplace does provide a few of those things, but I was been taught if somebody else is keeping track of anything of yours, you should keep track of yourself as well. And this way you got a good checks and balances, and it's a little bit more accurate.
Yeah, I've done a lot of user studies in my application, mostly just through observation.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm surprised at the way people use my application. I'm surprised at the parts that they use most often. I'm surprised at the way they bring things up.
Yeah.
There are features of my apps that just never get used.
No, you're absolutely right, and I was very floored myself in that same thing where I had the keyboard shortcuts are my applications. For example, keyboard shortcuts for C#, keyboard shortcuts for Outlook, and I have a search button so that you can do a freeform type searching as well as I've got a one-touch lookup, which is definitely more popular. But with the search button, I found only a very small percentage of people were using that. And here, when I wrote the app, I figured everybody's going to use this feature.
It tells you where to spend your time.
Yeah.
So either that feature's not useful, or they don't know about it. You make it more obvious to them.
So the other type of trial we started talking about was you had limited functionality. The other one would be a time trial. So time trials, you can either do one of two ways. You can put a timestamp in isolated storage, and the first time the user goes to use it. And then the only problem is, that the user goes to uninstall it and reinstall it. It just removes all the isolated storage. The best way of doing that is calling a web service and storing the information externally, and then doing a comparison when they go ahead and run it.
What about marketing?
Well, marketing, you want to start out with a really good logo right off the bat, and there's a lot of different sources. There was a nice site for all of the Metro style logos, and I'm drawing up the link as to what that was. It was Sean Weisfield or Sean Wildman put that together, and I'll get you that link on that one. But that's a good one for those. And there are other ones like freestockicons.com. That's another one I looked at. So you want to get that out of the way as early as you can in your development cycle. So you got something that's clean, something that's crisp, that represents your idea, and then you can get on with development, right, and do all that stuff. So that's what I always recommend. And then there are other graphic services if you are not inclined yourself. There's folks like designforcommunication.net. Diane Lieber out of Florida does a lot of good design work. So you got a few options there in terms of what you want to do from a marketing perspective there in design.
Anything else?
Oh yeah, one very big thing. So this is probably the biggest thing, okay? When you submit an application, you're submitting an app with, say, trial functionality. So you check off the trial boxes for it. So now you basically got one zap up in Marketplace that at the flip of a switch, it'll either be trial or it'll be a full functionality app. But it's one zap. So and it says in Marketplace that, okay, this does support trial. However, that appears in the paid column. And where do most people look for apps? In the free column. So the way you do that is you do two separate submissions. Okay. One for that's got the trial version built in, and another one that's completely free. And what you do is you put a buy button in your free one. Links to the other zap or the other application by using the content identifier field, the GUID. And you can get that out of your description, for that. So that's the biggest trick right there. And I saw like 100 to 1 difference in terms of the downloads. It's just tremendous. I mean, you think about it when you're using it, right? You go to free columns. I go to the free columns. Most people go to the free section first. Right. So that's one real big tip. And then another one is to submit your app in multiple categories. Did you ever wonder why there's a flashlight category, a flashlight app in every category? So why can't my app be like that? That's the thought process I went through. So what I did was I slightly changed the name so that I have one for business category, one for productivity, one for reference, and I just appended, reference to the end or business to the end of the name. That's how I did it.
Okay.
And then you create another submission for that particular category. So now it's all about raising the visibility of your app, where your app is located. So you got different things going for you here, right? You got localization. You got that could be 5 different versions of your app, different cultures. You got instrumentation. You got the ability to put free apps and multiple categories. So now you're talking. You got a lot of different apps out there that people can find. And also, whenever you do an update, it'll fall in the new column. So even if you change the freaking version number,
frequent updates is a good thing.
that's right. Frequent updates are great because now it appears in another column, in the new column. So visibility is it. That's key.
What's your most popular?
Mine is shortcuts for Windows 7. That's the broadest market I got. So hands down, that's it. And then Outlook is pretty close to it. And also I have a mega pack for all the Office products, and that's pretty even right now with Outlook actually.
Okay. Russ, thanks so much for your time.
Hey, my pleasure. Great interview. Good luck to you and the rest of the conference here.
Good luck with your show.
Thanks a lot. All right. Dave rocks with Technology and Friends.